Evolution of management. People have been shaping and reshaping organizations for many centuries. Looking back through world history, we can trace the stories of people working together in formal organizations. People have also long been writing about how to make organizations efficient and effective since long before terms such as management came into common usage. This is the timeline tracing how the management thoughts have progressed over the centuries. The exactness about the origin of management thought can be traced back from the ancient times until the 19th century Industrial Revolution. This further set about the development of classical, behavioral and contemporary approach. So let's take a dive back into the history of management where it all began. In the ancient period, the concept and practice of management was elaborated in different ancient civilizations like Sumer, Egypt, China, India, etc. One of the early contributors included the Babylonian king Hamurabi. The Code of Hammurabi is a well-preserved ancient law code which lists 282 laws that regulate a number of behaviors. Indeed, this code is the earliest record where wages for different occupations, incentives, punishments, and accounting are mentioned. Another example worth highlighting is the contribution of the Qin and Han dynasty. The Qin dynasty established the first centralized Chinese bureaucratic empire and thus laid the foundation for an administrative system to staff it. The Han dynasty established an imperial university to train and test officials in the techniques of Confucian government. Hence, the Qin and Han dynasty can be credited to the development of the idea of bureaucracy and meritocracy for the dual purpose of selection and promotion. Next come the Greeks and Romans, who undertook numerous industrial projects such as roads, waterways, and established various guilds or associations that encouraged trade. The Romans' contribution to management was standardization of measures, weights, and coins, which were needed to administer such an enormous empire. Indeed, it was the great Greek philosopher Socrates who stressed the advancement of managerial skills like creating an environment of information sharing and analysis. Another Greek philosopher, Plato, was not far behind in recognizing human diversity and the art of ruling. Now let's take an example of how medieval Indians made great strides in the building of one of the most celebrated and yet challenging structures of all times. The Taj Mahal, famously known as the Crown of Palaces, took approximately 20 years in the making. It also utilized almost 20,000 workers brought from India, Persia, Europe, and the Ottoman Empire, along with some 1,000 elephants were brought in to build the mausoleum complex. This meticulous construction required a wide range of laborers, with each laborer having a different task. Some must be marble cutters. Others must be required to move gigantic blocks of marble. Who told each worker exactly what to do? Who ensured the timely availability of tools and raw materials at site? The answer is managers. Though that's not what they must have been called at that time, someone must have planned what, where, how, when, why of people and material. These past illustrations highlight that organizations have been around for thousands of years, as well as management also has been adopted for this long. However, the 18th and 19th century have proven to be stepping stones in the study of management. Next came the contribution by Adam Smith, who published the book The Wealth of Nations, emphasizing that economic growth is rooted in increasing division of labor. Indeed, it was Adam Smith who bridged the gap between specialization and growth. In the famous visit to a pin manufacturing factory, Adam Smith asserted that where 10 men could produce 10 pins per day working separately and performing each task individually, there was a possibility of producing 48,000 pins per day if the same 10 workers did only the specialized task, hence demonstrating productivity multiplying effects of division of labor. Industrial Revolution is at the center of evolution of management theory. From the late 1700s through the early 1900s, the Industrial Revolution brought extraordinary change to the workplace and forever transformed the way companies operate. The 18th century saw the emergence of various international corporations such as the British East India Company and VOC, also known as the Dutch East India Company, which conducted business globally. At its peak, the VOC was worth the equivalent of Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, Samsung, Johnson & Johnson, Walmart, Visa, and many more put together. This means that one of the world's most valuable company, Apple, is worth about only 11% of the peak value of the VOC. Well, these numbers do shed a new light at how these companies shaped the world and brought in the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. The next factor that sparked the Industrial Revolution were the numerous inventions during this period. The inventors tested ideas and prototypes and came up with new methods and machines. Some notable examples are the telephone, the phonograph, the electric bulb, the spinning jenny, the dynamite, the steam engine that further led to development of locomotives and telegraph. Though the progress of the Industrial Revolution ushered in a new era of advancement, it came with its own share of problems. For the first time, managers had to find new and innovative ways to motivate a sizable number of employees to perform. Since this was a new concept, research, observations, experiments, and trial and error were all used to find new and better ways to manage employees. The Industrial Revolution gave birth to a variety of management theories and concepts, many of which are still relevant and essential in today's workforce.